Prominent Illinois defense attorney Antonio Romanucci announces a civil investigation into the killing of Minnesota resident Renee Good at the hands of an ICE agent. This as Good's family issues its first official statement. And part of it says, quote, "Nay was the beautiful light of our family and brought joy to anyone she met. She was relentlessly hopeful and optimistic, which was contagious. We all already miss her more than words could ever express." And Romanucci says, quote, "People in Minneapolis and across this country truly care about what happened to Renee Good on January 7, 2026, and are committed to understanding how she could have been killed on the street after dropping her child off at school." And joining us now is brand new Fox Chicago reporter Say Kwan, who previously served in that capacity for 5 years in the Twin Cities, correct? 6 years, 5 years?
It actually was about 3 years.
3 years,
I'm
okay.
from Minnesota, so.
You're from Minnesota. So you've witnessed a lot of turmoil over the last year. I know you were coming down here to Chicago as this shooting was taking place on January 7th. Tell us what the tenor of the city is right now and the various communities that have withstood a lot of these actions.
Well, I think Minneapolis has been under an immense amount of pressure and scrutiny over the last few years. I mean, let's back up to what happened in 2020. We all know, obviously, what happened. George Floyd was murdered in Minneapolis by a Minneapolis police officer. And I think that just when we were starting to come out of this healing phase, I think, obviously there was a lot that happened in just the last year as well. First, we think about the politically motivated attacks. That's been a very hot topic right now.
This is on the lawmakers, Horstman.
The Hortman family,
Hortman,
correct. They were killed in that. And then, of course, there was a whole list of other lawmakers that were targets, basically, by Vance Belter. So that really shook up Minnesota and the entire community. And if you don't know Minnesota, it's really, truly rooted in community. People in Minnesota are the type of people to shovel their neighbors' driveways when it's, below freezing. And people really care about each other in that neighborhood. Everyone knows who's in their neighborhood, right?
Are you talking about the neighborhood that the incident with Good happened?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is, I'm just
And it was close
now.
to where the George Floyd incident happened.
Correct. It actually happened less than a mile away. And there was a lot of also debate over what to do with that site of George Floyd Square. There was a lot of debate over what they were going to do. So finally, once we were starting to kind of come out of that, now this shooting takes place. I didn't even mention, of course, the Annunciation mass shooting that happened right, the first week of school. And then, of course, now Renee Good. And so I think right now, people have been really seeking a place where they can heal and really come together. And of course, now Renee Good is shot and killed. And so now this raises a whole new set of concerns. And then, of course, there's been a lot of developments out of this shooting as well, including, of course, now the FBI leading the investigation
and not really cooperating with local authorities who also want to investigate. And I want to get into that, but tell me, in Chicago, there was polling basically showing the majority of residents here were opposed to these stepped-up deportation efforts, some of these aggressive tactics against protesters. We've seen lawsuits where judges have ruled blocking some of these tactics. What is the tenor in Minneapolis? Do you sense that the majority of residents there are upset about this, or is it split where some support this?
I think when you think about Minneapolis, the city itself, it's a very liberal city. And this is a very known fact. Actually, I heard from Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara, who was talking about this as well. It's a very liberal city. And so you think about what's happening there. And like you said, most of the people in the city of Minneapolis, not talking the entire state, are definitely very concerned over what's happening. Once again, as I said, that city is very much rooted in community. They know their neighbors. They're very protective over the people that they know and love. And so I think when you are seeing these aggressive tactics, not only that, but also the rhetoric that's being used to describe the people who really make up Minneapolis. Let's talk about the Somali diaspora.
I was going to get to that, yeah.
100%. I mean, that's about 80,000 Somalis who live in Minnesota, most of them living in the Twin Cities metro area. So, of course, when you're hearing from the president and you hear rhetoric like they're garbage, Minnesotans are going to, get defensive. And they're going to protect
the Somali community has been rooted in that area for many, many years. So it seems like they're integrated into the community. But there is a lot of talk nationally about the social services fraud that they discovered. And Somalis have been a part of this. But there was that viral video by an influencer who's a MAGA adjacent influencer. And I think the national reaction was, well, how come the mainstream media wasn't reporting on this? But it seems like locally in Minnesota, the media there had been following some of what was happening in the social service space.
Yeah, absolutely. This is actually an investigation that was done by the Fox 9 station, Minneapolis KMSP, and they have been following this for quite some time. Now, I think there's a little bit of this weird gray area because this influencer went to these daycare centers trying to kind of expose these daycare centers, and some of that information was incorrect. Some of it, of course, we have a big fraud investigation playing out in Minnesota right now that involves a lot of state lawmakers as well. But I think that there was a lot of kind of questioning over, was this correct, was this not? And now this has kind of been this full-on investigation. Now, the person really in charge of that investigation, Joe Thompson, is one of six or seven prosecutors who have now officially resigned.
And that's the kind of latest scandal right now is the U.S. Attorney's Office. There are 6 or 7 prosecutors resigning because the DOJ has chosen not to investigate the shooter, instead investigating the wife of Renee Good. Tell us the turmoil that this is causing and perhaps the feeling that there might not be a fair investigation here. Any police-involved shooting, agent-involved shooting, especially like that, a shocking video like that, usually gets a very serious investigation. Is there the feeling that that's just not going to happen here?
Yeah, 100%. I think that a lot of the people in Minneapolis right now are kind of using that and their decision to really push this investigation more so toward the FBI. I think they're kind of using that as, okay, we were right, this is how it was going to be all along. I think people knew that in Minneapolis. And now I'm not going to speak on behalf of the entire state. I don't know. But I will say, of course, people in Minneapolis are going to be outraged by that. That's only going to make things worse for them because right now they're also in a time of healing, or at least trying to heal, find the answers. Will they get the answers is the question that they're all asking right now.
You know, politics plays so large into this. Walz obviously having run for vice president. Pritzker here, a big agitator of Trump and Republicans. Is there a sense that a lot of the target on Minneapolis and the Twin Cities is political, like it is here, a blue city, democratically a majority, and local officials like Pritzker, Walz, that tend to be very harsh toward the president?
100%. I think there's a lot of similarities there. I mean, Governor Walz also announced that he was going to be running for a third term and then later decided that he was going to drop out. A lot of that has to do with the fraud investigation here. I think there's still a lot of questions that need to be answered, but a lot of the rhetoric that's being used is, how was this able to happen under your watch? And so I think because of that, he's kind of setting this aside, realizing that maybe this is not the best position for him to be running for a third term as governor. So yes, I think there are a lot of similarities all in all.
Pritzker running for a third term as well. So big parallels here. And now you're bringing your expertise down here to Chicago. Yeah. You're our newest reporter, and welcome to the family. Good to have you here.
Thanks. I'm really excited to be here as well.
Thanks, Saquon. Appreciate it.